July 26th, 2016. Today was my one full day in Milan, and I got up really late and I had a pretty relaxed breakfast. I had some food that I put together in the kitchen, and so I don't even think I made it out of here until probably about noon. And then I walked over to the metro station and got myself a metro pass, and then took the metro into the Duomo, and then I wasn't actually planning on going into the Duomo, but I decided to once I got there. It was only, I think it was like €2 to get inside and to have a look around, and it was definitely worth it. It was good value for €2. The outside, I think, was probably more spectacular, and especially having been to the Vatican. Apparently this Duomo in Milan is the third largest in the world, and the Vatican was the first. But yeah, it was still beautiful, and the stained glass windows were really beautiful. But yeah, the outside, I think, was more interesting because it had lots of little statues or gargoyles, or just lots of little things along the outside of the church to look at, and you could wander around the outside and check it all out. And then, so after that, I went to, what did I do? I must have got on the tram. So because I had a transit pass, there's all these trams that run through the city from one side to another. And so tram number 1 is this little vintage tram, and it goes, from one side of the city to the other. And so I got on that, and then that took, I don't know, I was on it for like a half an hour. And then I spotted a kebab place, and it looked really cheap and cheerful, and so as soon as I saw it, I hopped off the tram and ate, what was it? It was like a falafel panini. Anyway, it was very cheap and it was very cheerful. And then, so I sat there and ate it, and then I got on the tram and went back the way that I had come from. But then I got off the tram at, there's it's about 4 blocks of all around the Napoleon part of the old town. And anyway, it's where like the fashion designers of Milan, they all have a presence. So it's like the height of fashion and luxury in the whole world. It's like the capital of the capital of everything related to fashion. And so I rocked up, and it's like just little laneways and stuff full of ridiculously expensive clothes. And I looked inside the shops, and they had you could see 1 or 2 people in some of the shops, and they would be sat there, and they would have this glass of water on a silver tray, and they'd just be sitting down while I guess their husband or their wife was in the fitting rooms. And then, it was, and at each door to every shop, there was at least one attendant, I suppose, to welcome you in. I didn't actually go in. It was more just window shopping today. And the best part was that being in like the center of the fashion world, I was looking my usual fantastic self. So I wore exactly this. So I've got my togs on, I had my jandals, my singlet, and I'm pretty sure I was the least classy person there. Like, with all of these rich, fancy places and all these people popping in and out with their little poodles and whatnot, I did feel slightly underdressed for the occasion, but that was fine. Like, I don't have any fancy clothes with me. This is about as fancy as I get. So that's what I gave today, was my fanciest. And so I finished up there, and then I went over to the castle. I don't think I'm skipping out anything here. And so there's this huge big castle, and you can walk into the castle and, well, through the castle, and I'm pretty sure I took a video of possibly me being in the middle, like a 360 selfie thing. And then I walked out into the park. There's a big park in behind. And then, I went to the Galleria as well. There's a Galleria near the Duomo. And the Opera House, La Scala Opera House. And, and I went, also I saw the, some statue of a famous person. I think it was, I'm quite certain I took a picture of it. I want to say it was somebody like, I think it was the Leonardo, was it? I think it was the Da Vinci statue. I think that's because he was all like with his beard and he looked like a wizard. So I think that was the Leonardo one. And that was just opposite the Opera House. And then, so back to the castle. So I wandered through the park outside. And they have these beautiful fountains, and then I wandered back around, and then by then this was like hours and hours. This was probably 5:30 at least by now. And so I got back on the metro, and then I saw on Google Maps that there is a Pinocchio statue, but it's out towards my side of the city where I'm staying. So it was on the way home. I just had to get off the bus earlier. And then, so I took the metro to the bus stop, and then I got off the bus maybe 10 minutes before I got here to this apartment. And I wandered through the park, and sure enough, there's a statue of Pinocchio. And it's this, I did take a picture of it, so I'll try and upload it. But it's a statue of, I'm assuming that Pinocchio, I guess Geppetto and Pinocchio were all Italian names. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. But I'm guessing that it's very strongly connected to Milan. And and because I passed a Pinocchio store today, like they sold the little Pinocchio puppet things on strings. So I should probably do some more research about that later. But anyway, this Pinocchio statue, it has Pinocchio, and he's a boy, and he's looking down on his old Pinocchio, is it marionette? I think it's a marionette, wooden self down below. It's a really cool statue, and then it has like the animals that are sort of next to him, and the water flowing everywhere. And being Italy, like there's homeless people that are falling asleep on the bench and everything all around there, and graffiti and lots of things that make the statue slightly less than perfectly beautiful in all ways, but it was still really cool. Like it's, I was really happy that I took a moment to stop and to have a look. It's not, I don't think it's in any guidebooks or anything. I just noticed it on Google Maps, so it just seemed like an easy thing to do. And then, so I came back here, and I went to the supermarket to make sure that I had some food and stuff for tomorrow. And I'm sure you've heard me say this a million times before, but tomorrow's the big day where I take the train from here in Milan, the TGV, the super high-speed train. It's just over 7 hours, and it takes me from Milan all the way into Paris. So by tomorrow afternoon, I'm hoping I will be in Paris, and then Camille comes in, I think, around 5:30, 6 o'clock or so, and we're just sorting out accommodation now as to which part of the city we want to stay. And, figuring out which day to go up the Eiffel Tower and all the fun and exciting things that a tourist would do in Paris. I'm thinking, I was originally thinking 2 nights, but now I'm thinking probably three nights in Paris, and whether that's 3 days in Paris or just 2 days in Paris and then leaving early to go onwards after that, I don't know. But accommodation seems pretty cheap. Like you can get a decent place close to everything for 30 euros, and I'm keen on that. I'm very keen on that. So I think, yeah, Paris is a good place to hang out in, and I should easily be able to hang out there with Camille for a few days and check out some of the sites. I think she's been to a lot of them already, but she's really keen to see a lot of them again. I haven't come up. I have 7 hours on the train tomorrow to do some research on Paris and to figure out the kinds of places that I want to go. So I should have a better idea probably once I actually arrive into Paris as to where things are and how to get around and what I'd like to see in those 2 or 3 days before I head off. So yeah, really early start to tomorrow morning. The train leaves at 6 and it's on the other side of town from where I am right now. So I hope that there's still some sort of public transportation that runs in the crazy early hours of the morning tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long walk through the city at like 3:30, 4 a.m. Probably 4:30, I guess, is when I'll want to leave to make sure that I'm at the station at the right time. Well, with plenty of time. So I think that's all for today, and yeah, I think that's it. Good night.